welcome to Two Hypnotherapists Talking with me, Denise Mejia in Delaware, USA.
And me, Les Roberts, in St Helens, United Kingdom.
This weekly podcast is for anyone and everyone who would like to know more about the fascinating world of hypnosis and the benefits that it offers.
I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and specialist in working with children.
And I'm a retired medical doctor and consultant hypnotist.
We are two hypnotherapists talking.
So let's get on with the episode.
Hi.
Hello. So how are you doing?
All right. Okay. So this week over in the UK, it is Children's Mental Health Week. Children's Mental Health Week means over here, and also other things, to help parents. So there's always a theme behind the Mental Health Week, and this year it is "This is my place." And that's the theme. So
who are they aiming that title at?
Children. So this is my
but children in foster care, children in class.
I think it's everywhere. It's to help children and also to raise awareness that children need to feel safe no matter where they are.
Do you still have a lot of immigrant children? I mean, obviously, people have been immigrating to Britain as long as it's been there, but there were so many refugees coming across. That's still a large number.
I don't know about whether there's a large number still coming in, but we have a large number. We've got quite a large refugee community here where I live. And I had the pleasure of working with some refugees and the families a couple of summers ago. I went over to a place called Birkenhead, which is over the River Mersey. You'll be familiar.
Birkenhead, I've heard of, yes.
Yeah. And I had the pleasure of working one summer with refugees and their families, predominantly with the children, but the parents, some of the parents were involved.
What were you working with?
Just helping them to understand emotions. We did a lot of crafting, which the mums joined in, and just to help, because these are
the loss of place in their homelands, and some
of
them must have had really pretty nerve-wracking.
Yes. So these are children from war-torn areas who have literally come over on the boats, and it's quite strange. They're absolutely gorgeous children, absolutely fantastic children, well behaved, took an interest in everything that we're doing, really got stuck in. But it was so funny because they've got like a foreign accent but mixed up with a Liverpudlian accent as well. So I found it quite amusing actually, but it was nice to work with them. It was nice to...
How long had those children been there? Because children pick up language so fast.
Not very long. Some of them were in school already, so hence, their accents that they were picking up. But not very long, because they were still in hotels. Because what this charity did, which is called Heart for Refugees, and what this charity did was they raised money to help them, and they had a community centre, like a church hall, and the families used to come and cook because they couldn't cook in the hotels.
Right.
So they'd get food vouchers, or they'd get money for food, or however it worked.
Right, but that must have been really good, because for a lot of people, that's part of taking care of your kids, right? Cooking for them, feeding them.
Yeah. But it was nice, Do you know what was really nice, Denise, is to see different countries, different cultures, different beliefs and everything all coming together just to help each other. It was lovely.
Yeah.
It was really lovely. And of course I got to taste some of the food, as well.
That's also nice, isn't it?
Yeah. But we have here in St Helens, where I live, we have a charity. While the dads, or why the males are out either training or working, then the women will cook, and they will open the cafe in different areas, and people will come in and eat the food, or they can use it as a takeaway, and any money raised, it goes towards the refugees and everything. It's lovely.
Yeah. So the people of St Helens can learn about other cuisines, which is lovely.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they've held it in different areas in St. Helens, and it's lovely. It's lovely, and it was so nice to support them, when I could. And the meals are absolutely gorgeous. So nice. It was so lovely, to be able to see these are legitimate, people that have, fled war-torn countries and, for a better life, but they've come over with their families. These are,
Hmm.
a family of four or a family of more or less, and it's just so lovely, and they're so humble and so nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, this theme for This Is My Place, this is my take on it, that it's just helping and highlighting to adults and to the general population, really, that children do need to feel safe no matter where they are, whether they're in school, whether they're at home, whether they're in a club, like a dance club
Right.
or
Right.
brownies
You
or
have the right to be here.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and you have the right to feel safe and supported,
So
because
how does that fit in your practice?
because that's exactly what I do here. When I say
Hmm.
we, when I talk about my business and my practice, I always say we, because it's not just about what I can bring to the therapy or to the
Hmm.
interventions. It's about the families, it's about the children. So I always say we, royal we, so and yes, yes, and it's just it's all about being included, it's all about being listened to, it's all about being heard, having that voice, where a child can feel comfortable to tell me anything they want to, and know, that
And they can speak their fears.
yes,
I
yeah,
always say, if I talk about it, it'll make it worse. Yeah.
yeah. So we don't really, I have a different approach to my therapy, and I know we've discussed this before, but mine's not traditional therapy. It's even though I do use NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and hypnosis approaches, I have a different swing on it, because children, they don't understand emotions and feelings a lot of the times. So if they have
People
to
in
sit,
general don't.
yeah, yeah. So if they have to sit and explain to people how are they feeling, they're just going to sit there and think, well, that's why I'm here. I don't know how I'm
Yes.
feeling. This is why I'm
Yeah.
behaving like I am, because I don't understand.
But
Whereas
yeah,
I,
where it
yeah,
doesn't explain that either.
yeah.
But so, do you see those children still, or is it that you were going into them in there to
The
assist the people
refugee.
already? Mm.
No, I don't, unfortunately. I only spent the summer with them. It was something that the charity asked me to come in, and they'd heard about the work that I had done here in St.
Hmm.
Helens, so they'd asked me to go over. So I went over the water and did some work with them.
A little holiday.
Yeah, it was nice. It was well, I think we're about 45, well, not 45 minutes, about an hour, just under an hour from Birkenhead. So it was
Hmm.
there and back, throughout the summer. But it was lovely. And it makes you look at your own life as well, doesn't it? And think, well, why am I moaning about,
Yeah.
things when, I've still got my home,
There, but for the grace of God, right?
yeah, yes, yeah. So what I've been doing this week is I'm just doing a little social media campaign about making sure that children are supported, making sure that they're heard, and making sure that wherever they are, wherever they call their place,
So,
can be theirs, and because they need that. Children do need that.
we don't get that much British news here. I
Yeah,
read the Guardian and Telegraph, but I haven't seen very much in the news. Like everybody, they tend to know this stuff if it's been on long enough. Oh, it's old news. We
yeah,
don't need to talk about that anymore. There was a lot of aggression towards the immigrant population. Is that beginning to die down?
I've not heard anything for a while. There has been a massive shift, I've noticed, in our town, of different people, different cultures, but we're a multicultural society, and
Yeah.
for me,
Well, you're so close to Liverpool, which is a port, so you've
exactly,
always had a lot of
exactly,
people there.
exactly. So we're in between.
The Irish population of Liverpool alone is quite huge.
Exactly. And we're in between Manchester and Liverpool. So you've got two massive multicultural, cities.
Right.
So yeah, why not? So
So
if I
do
can help
you?
the children, then fine.
Yeah. So your work during this, is it a week or a month? Is it the whole month? It's Black History Month here. February is Black History Month. So we don't have any competing things.
Right. No, it's just for a week. It's just the 9th to the 15th of February. And it's around this time every year. And they have different themes each year.
So other than pointing things out through social media, are you writing articles, or are you doing any particular campaign for your business?
Yeah, I'm doing. So the campaign that I'm doing for my business is completely different to Children's Mental Health Week, but it's also something that I can help parents with. So we know that when you sleep, your subconscious mind doesn't sleep. We know that your subconscious mind is taking all that information in. Yeah, it's hearing, everything. So what better thing to do than to speak to children while they're asleep?
Oh, did you train as a sleep talk?
I did.
I did too. Yes.
I did.
I don't advertise it very much, but it's on my website.
So I've changed mine. So mine is called Rest and Reset.
Good.
So it's all about helping parents, to deliver those. So my campaign this week for my business, as well as supporting Children's Mental Health Week, is to throw out, metaphorically, all of the information I can, little tasters, little teasers about what rest and reset is all about.
Okay.
Because if you
do you see children for sleep issues?
Yeah.
Okay. What percentage of it do you think of the?
Oh no, they're not.
Not very many.
No, usually if they're struggling with the sleep, it's usually anxiety related, or it could be a breakdown of family dynamics, or a change, a transition to school, or but there's usually sleep involved. So I obviously get parents involved and help them, because while I'm doing the one-to-one treatment, they can be delivering that every night, and it helps. It does help. The difference in a child once you've done this rest and reset is completely different to just traditional therapy. It's really good. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing this week, and also throwing out lots and lots of like little tasted little golden nuggets, so I can sort of draw them in, because it's relatively easy to do. But it's relatively easy to deliver as well, isn't it? It's just saying the right things. So
yeah. The difficulty, it's just a logistical issue, is the number of children who have to split their time between one parent in this home and another parent in another home. That makes it a little bit more complicated.
But I have had a few children who, have that, where parents have joint custody. And as long as you get both parents on board, and as long as they're both saying the same thing for that particular week, then, it seems to work. It really does. I've just done one for a friend of mine whose daughter she's not really struggling, but she's a little bit over anxious about going to school. So I have written a program for a pathway for my friend, and she's delivering it at home, so it's very useful. But I used this when my grandson was 2.5, 3, something like that. He's 14 this year. Actually, he's
grandchildren's 14. You're younger than me.
He's 15. He's actually 15 this year. Yeah. So I used it. So basically what it was they came to stay with my husband and I for the weekend, the two boys, and the eldest is 2 years older than the youngest. And of course he's completely dry, no pull-ups, no diapers, no nothing. And the youngest wanted not to wear. He didn't want to wear her pull-up because he said, I'm a big
He's
boy.
a big boy.
I'm a big boy, yeah. I'm no accidents, Nana. I'm a big boy.
That's how my eldest was trained. My parents would come over periodically and stay with us for a prolonged period of time, but then they would go for a year without seeing the children.
Yeah.
And my mum came in and they were babysitting at night. My husband and I had gone out, came back, found out that my mother had put my oldest son, who was about 2.5, 3, in bed without a diaper. He was fine. It was just a question of telling him it was okay, he didn't need to use one.
Yeah.
He was done. It was.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it counts as training. We're just sort of waiting for your body to just decide what it's going to do.
Yeah. He cried, he moaned, he didn't want his pull-up on. He wanted to wear his pajamas like his big brother. And so the first night he took it off. When, he must have woken up after we'd seen him to bed, read him a story, and he took it off. So, of course, he had an accident. We didn't make a big thing about it, I just said to him, you need to wear it. And again, the tears, I don't want to wear it. So I thought, do you know what, let's just see. So I put a few pads underneath, to make sure that the mattress was protected.
Absorb, yes.
Yeah, and I just let him go to bed, like a big boy. Never mentioned anything about wetting. It was all big boy, good boy. You'll wake up tomorrow feeling lovely and dry. And I went in when he was asleep and I just whispered, just spoke to him very, very softly, saying how proud I was of him, and where he's going to wake up tomorrow nice and dry, and imagine how you feel when you're nice and dry. You can stay in bed a little bit longer and cuddle his toy. And he was dry the next morning. So I thought, oh, this is a fluke, it's got to be a fluke. So I did it again. They stayed 3 nights altogether, and
three didn't have it again.
Yeah, so 2 out of 3 nights. It was just amazing. So of course, when we took him back to my daughter's and I said, he doesn't need them, she was like, what? I said, he doesn't need them. All you need to do is just say to him, you don't mention weeing, you don't mention, wetting. You just say, how
it's so nice and dry in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. You smell lovely and blah, blah, blah. And it's worked. It worked ever since. So when this came up, when I heard about this from our mutual friend, Cheryl, I thought, right, okay, let's do it. And I was halfway through it and I thought, I've done this. I've done it with my grandson. So, but yeah, of course you do need, to know a little bit more. So yeah, it's just amazing. So I've started using it. I've started introducing it a lot to my parents as well. I do think that it stands in good stead, to helping them, because it does.
Lots of strings to your business, haven't you?
Yeah, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be about bedwetting. It can be about anxiety. It could be about a dance routine, or playing football. Anything. It's so good. Yeah, I just think if we can make it easier for our parents, then I just think it makes it
from their parents, from the parents, not our parents.
From their parents, not our parents. So yeah, if we can make it easier for their parents, then it makes our job easier as well.
Yeah,
because you've got that continuity, haven't you, when a child goes home, and also. The parents are invested rather than just expect, to rock up here for an hour and then everything's, everything's done. They have to put in some work as well, and I think it's nice, for them to see those changes as well. So have you used yours with them?
A little bit. Not my kids are way too old.
Oh, no, I know yours.
We have no grandchildren yet, so
yeah.
But I've talked to parents about using it. I see mostly adults, not because I suppose most of my advertising is pointed towards the adults, but I as a former pediatrician, I have no problem seeing kids. It's just haven't had that many brought to me. I need to work harder at getting into doctors' offices. It sounds like I'm going to jimmy the lock, but I just think that honestly most doctors would have this as a modality available to their patients if they realised how very useful it is.
Exactly, but it's that same thing again, isn't it, about those brick walls are there, and it's like, ugh, you know,
Yeah.
but those walls will come down eventually, won't they?
Eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure when, but eventually.
Same with everything. I know we talked about this before.
But I think some of it, there was a sort of wish they hadn't stuck us with the name hypnosis, but it's the old stuff from 100 and so years ago that's followed us through, that people tend to think.
Yeah.
My first exposure to hypnosis was on Popeye the Sailor Man, and some not terribly civic-minded hypnotist in a cloak and all the usual paraphernalia hypnotized Olive Oil. And he did it over the phone, and then she wafted out the window and down to the street, and as she walked,
with her eyes,
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's part of the reason. And a bit embarrassing with this, I'm not mad about stage hypnosis. I've got Sharon, who was this last week, who does a lot of stage hypnosis or street hypnosis. Essentially the same thing. You just don't go to buy a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
You're just on the street. And he's using it for people to learn more about hypnosis. It's the same as the podcast.
Yeah.
Physically. And our next week's guest, Denise, who does stage hypnosis, and in fact started her hypnosis business as a stage hypnotist, but she was already a performer.
She was.
So it makes sense. And I would, the problem is that most people who are hypnotists, from for me, there's so many different ways for people to be hypnotized, and there's so many different ways people's brains work, and we have to sort of figure out how. If I say it this way, you've got to learn the client first. If you're doing stage hypnosis, you're looking for a specific type of hypnosis. You're looking for somebody whose mind will follow this kind of instruction, and so it tends to give the impression that it's fake.
Yeah.
And it definitely isn't. I mean, occasionally somebody will just be, I'll play along with the game and the guy will let you do it. But most you get tapped out because they know you're not under and you can go. But that's the part that bothers me. It's not so much that I don't approve of it, is that I think it perhaps misleads or puts people off the idea of looking into it.
So I keep falling off my chair. It is.
We can fix that with a little hypnosis too,
It's because I've got a cushion on at my back, and it's. I do think that it is. It's very misled. It's from years and years and years ago, like you said, and it can be perceived as mind-boggling, mind-bending, stuff, and this is why I had to change the name of my company.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, to Little Mind Masters, because schools didn't, it was frowned upon to use hypnosis or the word hypnotherapy, which I do remember speaking to one of our mutual friends, Sheila Granger, who's, very well known within the hypnosis family, so to speak. And Sheila was asked quite a few times by teachers and members of the school, going to hypnotise the children, are you?
There's a liability issue. They might end up with the parent being very upset that the children have been hypnotized.
But like you said, what they don't realise is that children fall into self-hypnosis, They're
hypnotised all the time. Yeah. It's a shame, really, we can't sort of use the knowledge that we have about how to teach them to do that. It would make learning languages so much easier. It would so many things.
Well, my background of working in physical therapy and occupational therapy, for the final 2 years of me working for the National Health Service, I also worked predominantly in speech and language. So speech and language just isn't about the language, that we speak. It's also about our understanding, our perception on things. It's also about learning social skills. It's also about, transitioning, help with transitioning from junior school to high school. And, it's all about semantic links, to help you to, to connect different sort of things together so that you can have a conversation with people. And it taught me an awful lot about how we can help children to communicate. So I use an awful lot of things that I've used in that practice in my own practice now, but with a bit of a slight,
spin on it.
I work a lot of stories for children, and everybody loves a story, don't they? Everybody loves a fairy story. Who doesn't? But if you look at our fairy stories, there's always hidden meanings behind them, isn't there?
And many of them are very dark.
Yes, they are, aren't they?
A lot of them are beware the stranger. Really,
yeah, it is, isn't it? But it's the good always comes out in the end, doesn't it? So I use a lot of different things, for the children, and it's to keep their attention, because you only have that certain window, don't you? Bang, 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 to get as much information as you can into child's minds for them to start, to use them. So I love it. I absolutely love it. I just think it's just a fantastic.
So most of your referrals are from whom? Do the parents self-refer?
Yeah, the parents can self-refer. Unfortunately, I don't get anything from any doctors. However, I'm very, very fortunate that I have a good relationship with our local council. So I get referrals from the council, and I also get referrals from social services, because I did do a lot of work with social services, and also we've got quite a lot of looked after children in this area as well. So
I assume you mean that foster children
and children who are just being temporarily fostered.
Okay.
If there's a breakdown in families. But
right.
I was very, very fortunate to work with the domestic rehab team after the perpetrator had left. So that was help to build those relationships with the it was the mums after the perpetrator had already left, but building those relationships of trust and everything back up with the children. And that was
probably
very.
Do you work with the mother herself? That must be one of the hardest to realize you've allowed somebody in, to build their own confidence in their abilities. Must be really great.
Yeah, it's all about being in that situation. We're not judge and jury, are we? But it's being in that situation and thinking, right, let's see if we can build this family back up to to where it was, or even better. But most of all, mum's very, very important in this, because the children will have. A lot of the children have lost trust and are bewildered over, like you said, how can you have let this happen? So that's what I did. I did 6 weeks of working with the rehab team, and it was just amazing. So I do get a lot of referrals from them.
Are the children concerned that the perpetrator will come back?
Sometimes they are, but most of the time there's all kinds of court orders in place where they can't come back. Sometimes they're actually incarcerated, so they can breathe a sigh of relief. I had one particular boy of 14 who couldn't wait for dad to come back, couldn't wait for dad to get out of jail, and took the beatings. So
there are a lot of different aspects to relationships.
There is. I will be honest with you, Denise. I was always, quite ignorant about it, and saying to myself, well, if that was me, I'd be off in a flash. Nobody's going to do that to me. But until you're in that situation, you can't say what you would do. It's very difficult, especially when children are involved, because you want to give the children that best upbringing as a mum.
Which is always two parents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But also you want to protect them as a parent, as a mum. But also, you could actually fear for your own life and your own safety by doing that. So
it is it needs multidisciplinary help.
Oh, definitely. Yes, definitely.
I was just thinking, actually, saying that attorneys are often involved in those cases. Do you ever get any referrals from attorneys?
Not very many. Not very many. Maybe it's an area that I need to target. I have been in touch with a lot of departments from our local, like I said, borough council. So there's like the domestic abuse rehab team. There's also the children's centres, where single parents will go, where young mums will go, and then there's like social services. The social workers that I have really good relationships with are both from children's services and also from adult services as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they will look after and support the foster parents, or the parents who are unfortunately having a not very good time. So I've just been asked to put a program together for a young girl who's struggling. I think she's about 14, 15. She's struggling, so I'm going to put a program together for her, a pathway together, and then send it to social services, and hoping that they might say yes. So once they say yes, then I'll just start to see the girl and her family, and then go from there. So but it's not overnight. This has been 10 years of pushing,
constantly. I'm still here.
So but this week, because it's Mental Health Week, I'm going into a few schools and reading to the children, reading my book to the children, and then donating 3 books to the schools, each to each school. And then on Friday I will be reading my book to a group of children at a local library as well.
Good.
So that's nice.
And are you giving the book to the library?
Yeah, so that's nice anyway, isn't it? So, be able to give back to the community, really. So I'm looking forward to It's going to be a busy week.
Yeah. I'm going to have two podcasts to get out. No problem. You're talking about help.
I'll have no voice tomorrow.
I think today my new website, it's not a new website, it's transferred into exactly the same URL, but I think it transfers this weekend.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Of course, the people that were doing that contacted me, so I could just go over the page. If I've gone through the pages, yes, they're all fine.
Yeah, I've just put a few more things on my website, for the parents. So one of them is about rest and reset, and the other one is about what happens when they come for a consultation.
Yes.
So, and then all about that, I'm just in the middle of writing something about hypnosis and children to explain that it isn't voodoo Jedi stuff, is it?
Right.
It can have magical, outcomes.
Well, that's it. That's why the title for my other podcast is Myth, Magic, Medicine. Because first of all, they used to think this a long, long time ago, and then there was this magic period, and now no, it's just this is how it works.
And the evidence is there. It does work. We can make those positive changes and keep those positive changes. So it's. I
think it's sort of the positive. Somebody speaking out against this idea of positive psychology. Well, no, positive is good. We like positive. You respond better and longer than you do to negative. But
well, that's that much, isn't it? Of what we can do. And if we can, especially my passion is working with children, and I am a massive, massive advocate of early intervention. And I would rather treat a child with a child's problems than treat an adult with those problems. Yeah.
It's just so frustrating to get that sort of eye roll from people.
It is,
Once they get over the idea that you do card tricks at children's parties. No, that's not what I do.
I mean, I've done a few things with the kids where, we've stuck their hands together and, closed their eyes and then said you can't open your eyes, and everything. And they've just found it absolutely hilarious, And it's non-invasive, drug-free, What else can you? Yeah, it's good. It's good. But you mostly work with adults, don't you?
That's who find me. I think it's the I tend to get a skew older clients.
Yeah.
I need to start reaching out more aggressively to doctors' offices. I did have one patient that had to be seen, a client of mine who had schizophrenia, and so I had to see her at her doctor's office. So they were very, very positive about it, and I had a big meeting with all of their staff, all their LPNs and their nurse practitioners and their this, that, and the others. They had some social workers who were therapists. And everybody's very, very positive about it, but they couldn't get past the legal department. I mean, I saw that particular person because she came to me first, but they couldn't refer people to past legal.
And it's such a shame, isn't it? But we just keep flying the flag and, hoping a lot of people, will start to listen to us, because we are usually the last resort, aren't we? When all other avenues have been
truthfully, anything it's when something works, you're not going to look for anything else. So it'd be nice if we could be number 5, not number 55. If we could be a little further up the chain.
Yeah, I think more and more people are looking at it. People who follow me, people who are quite well read up about things. They will not go down any other route. They will come straight to me, or to other hypnotists or hypnotherapists, wherever in the world you are.
Anybody who's already had a positive response.
Yes.
Like, okay, what else can I fix? We've all got little things that we don't really like about ourselves that we want to.
And I've had quite a few adults that have come back. I've had a few children that have come back for different things. But I had a lady who came to see me for self-confidence and anxiety and overthinking and that overwhelm.
And quite a lot of people around the pandemic.
Yes.
It's not really gone, but it's different now.
Well, this was just after, because she came in with a mask on. She didn't want to take a mask off, even though we have the 2-meter distance. And she was so in awe of how she changed, and that she came back and did some weight loss, and that we're still in touch with each other, and it's lovely to see how she's changed and how her outlook on life is so different to how it was. So once they come and see you and you can show them that positive change, then for different
obviously
things.
The more you believe it, the faster it works, because you're fighting the other.
Yeah. But it's just with children, you just think, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to, explain? So I explain to the parents that it's not traditional hypnosis. I always say to them, what do you think hypnosis or hypnotherapy is? It's all about changing, making those changes at a much, much deeper level with children, and changing the way that they talk to themselves, so that changes those beliefs.
Bypassing the critical self, let me explain why you're doing this.
But it's I love it. I really do love what I do. And I just wish I could do more, but we can't, can we?
You do need your weekends off. You need some time.
Yes, but
and that's the thing with any sort of hypnosis. You do need to make sure the person's really trained in it. As you go to a doctor. Do you really check to see if they're on the registry? No, we tend to believe the phone company would have done that. But you need to make sure that the person you're working with is ethical, is fully trained,
definitely,
and has experience. And they say that with some trepidation, because everybody's got to have a first client, and I don't begrudge them at all. But most of us are trained by around about a year. You train, and you see a certain number of clients under supervision. If we're loose on the wild, that's the thing.
You have to, when I was training, you have to reach so many hours as well, and
3,000.
And it's I'm glad my training was like that, and not just something out online that you can do in a weekend, because I don't think it works.
No, well, the thing is, those things are very good if you want to learn about a particular kind of hypnosis. You and I. I would quite likely go to somebody's stage hypnosis, just because you might pick up something that will be useful, because it's a fast technique. But also, as a taster, I've been interested in hypnosis. I wonder if I could do it. Go learn a little bit. Don't go out in public and try and hypnotize half the neighborhood, but learn a bit more about it. And if you really like it, then take a proper course and
I agree with you entirely.
Registered.
Yeah. But there is a lot of courses out there, isn't there, that you can qualify as a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist within, 8 hours.
Well, of course, there's no legal in most countries. Israel, you have to be a doctor to hypnotize. That was kind of interesting. But most places, it's not a protected title.
So if
we're now, that I use hypnotherapy as a name on this particular show because it's with a British person who is a hypnotherapist. And obviously I work in therapeutic hypnosis. But over here, a lot of states won't allow you to call yourself a hypnotherapist. It's the therapy label, which seems a bit silly. I mean, if respiratory therapists can be called therapists, why can't I be called a therapist?
So are you a hypnotist?
Yeah, but I use the National Guild of Hypnotists title of consulting hypnotist.
Right, okay.
I like it because it makes me sound like Sherlock Holmes, who's consulting detective. I like that.
Yeah.
And it's also, being a Brit who works in America, we don't have attending. We have attendings. We don't have consultants.
So if I came over to you, if I came over to the United States,
Unless you are a psychotherapist, you can't call yourself a hypnotherapist.
so what would I be? A hypnotist or just a just a hypnotist?
A hypnotist and NLP.
Okay, right, okay.
It's purely a question of not wanting a legal challenge.
I totally, yeah. I do think that it needs to be more tight. I really do.
See, and I don't know if we should let this go out on that. If you can hear this now, we're very concerned. I want more control over it, but I don't want the more control to knock half of us out of the practice.
Oh, no,
that's the problem. You want to make sure that you don't have people who are. We all say you can't hypnotize people to do bad things because their own sense of moral compass will stop.
Their moral compass, yeah.
But if you have a long enough time with somebody, you can do a lot of damage. And actually, one of the people I trained with, she had been in an abusive relationship, and she felt that was primarily using hypnosis, not intentionally using hypnosis.
So that's a form of conditioning then, isn't it? It's conditioning. Yeah, but it's using, right, yeah. I see, yeah.
So the thing is, it is, when used appropriately, it's a really useful tool.
Yeah.
And although when we first tell people how much you charge by the hour, yes, but you have to come twice. Mostly it's 2 or 3 times, and it's done. And it's done and dusted. It's not like a year of psychotherapy, and then you have to sort of go out by yourself again.
Exactly, yeah. And I explain that to my parents of the children and the adults that come to see me. I always say, like, there's a big difference between other therapies and what I can offer. I may be more expensive. I am more expensive, and I'll stand by my prices all the time. However, after 3-4 sessions,
right,
you don't need to come back.
You're paying for the results, not the amount of time it took to get there.
Yeah.
And the other thing, I think most of us teach our clients how to hypnotize themselves.
Yes.
So if they're having a major issue and they don't want to hypnotize themselves, we're very happy to see them back. But they don't have to keep coming back to us because they know now how their mind is working.
Yeah, and self-hypnosis is so important.
Yes.
For I think for anybody's recovery, we talk to ourselves more than we talk to anybody else, don't we? So.
And we talk without words a lot of the time. Some vocal stuff going on.
Unless you're like me and you can sit in here and just argue with yourself and talk to myself, but yeah. But it's just nice to talk to you. It's nice to see what our craft can offer and share it, with everybody. It's lovely.
It can offer a great deal more than it's asked to. That's the frustrating thing.
Yeah.
Please listen.
Yeah. We need to tell everybody, don't we?
That's right.
We hope you've enjoyed listening. Please remember, this podcast is designed to give you an insight into therapeutic hypnosis and is for educational purposes only. So remember, consult with your own healthcare professional if you think something you've heard may apply to you or a loved one.